The merger proposal from Phillips Sons sat unopened on my desk, their gold embossed logo gleaming under my office lights. Next to it, a framed photo from 5 years ago. Me standing in their lobby clutching my business plan while Dad and my brother Tom explained why I couldn't possibly run a company. "You need to understand your limitations, Emma," Dad had said, his CEO nameplate catching the light. "The business world isn't suited for someone with your challenges." Challenges. Their polite word for my dyslexia. Never mind that I'd graduated from MIT, or that my limitations had forced me to develop systems and workflows that neurotypical people never considered. My phone buzzed, a text from Tom. "Dad's having a fit about the Forbes article. Please call home." The article in question was prominently displayed on my wall. Neurotech Revolution. How Emma Phillips built a billion-dollar empire by thinking differently. My assistant's voice came through the intercom. "Your 10 a.m. is here. The Microsoft team wants to discuss expanding the partnership." I straightened my blazer, remembering Dad's words. "Stick to simple jobs, sweetheart. Leave the complex business decisions to your brother." Tom had inherited the CEO position at Phillips Sons 6 months ago. Under his leadership, their stock had dropped 40%. Meanwhile, Neurotech's AI-driven productivity solutions were revolutionizing how companies operated. "Send them in," I replied, sliding the merger proposal into my drawer. "Let Phillips Sons wait. They'd made me wait long enough." The Microsoft executives filed in, their body language respectful. So different from the dismissive attitudes I'd faced at family dinners. "Emma," their CEO smiled, using my first name naturally. "The integration results are incredible. Your systems have increased our team's efficiency by 300%. I pulled up our latest data on the wall screen. Neurotech's AI didn't just accommodate different thinking styles, it celebrated them, creating workflows that adapted to each user's unique cognitive patterns. "We'd like to expand the contract," he continued. "Global implementation. Every Microsoft Office worldwide. The deal would be worth billions. More than Phillips Sons' entire market cap." My phone buzzed again. "Mom, this time, your father's blood pressure is through the roof. That article made us look foolish. Please fix this. Fix this." Their constant refrain whenever I didn't fit their mold. "Fix your reading. Fix your thinking. Fix yourself." Instead, I'd fixed business. "Miss Phillips." My assistant appeared. "Your brother's in the lobby. Says it's urgent." Through the security feed, I watched Tom pace. His perfectly tailored suit couldn't hide his desperation. Phillips Sons was bleeding clients, losing to companies using Neurotech's systems. After the Microsoft meeting, I decided. The contract signing took 30 minutes. As the Microsoft team left, their CEO paused. "You know," he said, "I'm dyslexic too. Wish I'd had your systems when I was coming up. You're changing the game, Emma." I let that sink in as Tom finally entered my office. He stopped short, taking in the view from the top floor of Neurotech Tower, the building that now dwarfed Phillips Sons headquarters. "The merger proposal," he started, "is being considered." I cut him off, along with several others. "Emma, please. Dad's legacy. The family name." "The family name?" I pulled up Phillips Sons' latest earnings report. "The name you said I wasn't capable of representing? The legacy you thought I'd damage." "We were wrong," he whispered. "Obviously we were wrong." My phone lit up with another alert. Amazon wanted to discuss implementation. Google had doubled their order. Phillips Sons had lost another major client, to a company using our systems. "Remember when I showed you the prototype?" I asked, pulling up the original designs. "When I explained how different cognitive styles could revolutionize productivity. What did Dad say?" Tom looked away. "He said you were confused, that you should focus on something simpler. And you? The Harvard MBA. The real businessman." I said. He swallowed hard. "I said you were embarrassing yourself." I walked to the window, looking down at the city I was transforming. 5 years ago I sat in your office with a business plan. Today I'm sitting in mine with a contract to revolutionize Microsoft's global operations. Still think I'm embarrassing myself? "The merger would save us," he said quietly. "Let us be a family business again." "We stopped being family the day you and Dad decided I couldn't run a company." My assistant appeared with more news. Phillips and Sons stock had dropped another 10%. Their board was calling an emergency meeting. Go home, Tom, I said, turning back to my screens. Go help Dad protect what's left of his legacy. Neurotech isn't interested in saving companies that couldn't see the future. Emma. Miss Phillips, I corrected him. That's what you call a CEO you're trying to do business with. He left looking defeated, the weight of their failures visible in every step. As the door closed, my phone buzzed one last time. That, whatever game you're playing, he began, it's time to stop. Come home. Help your brother fix this. Fix this. I laughed. Like you tried to fix me? Sorry, Dick. I'm too busy running the kind of company you said I couldn't handle. I hung up as another alert flashed. Neurotech's stock had hit a new high. We were now worth more than Phillips and Sons had ever been. Looking at the merger proposal in my drawer, I thought about all the times they told me to stick to simple jobs. To know my limitations. To let the real business people handle things. Miss Phillips. My assistant's voice carried a note of triumph. The New York Times is here for the interview. They want to know how it feels to revolutionize business while proving your family wrong. I smiled, thinking of Dad's face when he read the Forbes article. Of Tom's desperate pacing in my lobby. Of all the simple jobs they thought I should stick to. Tell them, I said, that success is the best revenge. Especially when it comes with $1 billion valuation. The next morning's Wall Street Journal headline said it all. Phillips and Sons faces bankruptcy as Neurotech dominates market. Below was a split image. Their empty, traditional offices next to my vibrant, neurodiversity-friendly workspace where different thinking styles weren't just accepted, they were celebrated. The board voted no confidence in Tom, my insider at Phillips and Sons reported. Your father stepped back in as interim CEO, but investors are fleeing. I watched their stock price tumble on my wall of screens, each red digit a reminder of their past dismissals. Next to the stock ticker, Neurotech's latest innovation played on loop. An AI system that adapted to each user's cognitive patterns, turning so-called limitations into advantages. Miss Phillips. My assistant appeared. Apple's CEO is on line 1. And, your mother's in the lobby. The diplomatic one. The one who'd tried to soften Dad's judgments with phrases like, maybe you could be Tom's assistant, or, there are lots of nice, simple jobs that would suit you better. Send Apple to the conference room, I decided. I'll deal with Mom first. She entered like a ghost of Phillips' past. Designer suit, perfect hair, pearl necklace Dad had given her when Tom was named successor. But her hands clutched her handbag too tightly, her smile stretched too thin. Emma darling, she started, then stopped, taking in my empire. The walls of adaptive screens, the diverse team members collaborating effortlessly using Neurotech's systems, the future she and Dad had never imagined. Mom, I acknowledged, not offering a seat. I assume this is about the merger proposal? Your father's not well, she began, switching to her practiced guilt routine. The stress of watching Phillips and Sons collapse, knowing his own daughter could save it. Save it. I pulled up their financial reports. Like you all tried to save me from my business aspirations? Tell me, Mom, how's that working out? My phone buzzed, another alert. Tesla wanted to implement Neurotech's systems globally. Their CEO praised our revolutionary approach to human cognitive diversity. We were trying to protect you, Mom whispered. The business world is harsh. We didn't want you to fail. No, I corrected her. You didn't want me to embarrass you. There's a difference. I showed her our latest numbers. Neurotech was now processing more corporate data in an hour than Phillips and Sons handled in a year. Our AI had learned from thousands of diverse thinking patterns, creating systems that made traditional workflows obsolete. Your brother's drinking again, she tried another angle. The pressure of failing the family legacy. The legacy that couldn't accommodate a dyslexic daughter? That legacy? My assistant interrupted. Miss Phillips? The Apple team is ready. And Google CEO just arrived early for his meeting. Mom's eyes widened at the casual mention of tech giants, the kind of clients Phillips and Sons had never managed to land. Tell them 5 minutes, I replied, then turned back to Mom. You should go. I have a company to run, something you all thought I couldn't do. Emma, please, her voice cracked. We're family. Family. I laughed. Family supports each other. Family sees potential instead of limitations. You and Dad and Tom? You saw a problem to fix. I built a solution that made your entire business model obsolete. As if on cue, my phone lit up with breaking news. Phillips Sons had lost their last major client. To us. Mom sank into a chair, her perfect posture finally breaking. What do you want? Money? Power? Revenge? I want you to understand something, I said, pulling up the video from 5 years ago, my last presentation at Phillips Sons, where Dad and Tom had laughed at my ideas about adaptive technology. Watch, I commanded. Watch how you dismissed the future because it came from someone who read differently, who thought differently, who refused to stick to simple jobs. On screen, Dad's voice echoed, Emma, honey, you're confused. Leave the real business to people who can handle it. Mom flinched. We were wrong. Yes, you were. And now you're obsolete. My assistant reappeared. Apple and Google are waiting. And sir? Phillips and Sons board just announced an emergency shareholder meeting. Go home, Mom, I said, gathering my presentation materials. Go help Dad and Tom process their failures. I have a billion-dollar company to run. She left quietly, her designer heels clicking a retreat across my office floor. As the door closed, my phone buzzed one final time. The board's giving us 48 hours, he said without preamble. Accept the merger or they're selling us for parts. Funny, I replied, how suddenly I'm capable of handling complex business decisions. Emma, please. Everything I built. No, Dad. Everything you destroyed. When you decided your dyslexic daughter couldn't possibly succeed in business. When you handed my birthright to Tom because he could read faster. When you told me to stick to simple jobs. Silence on the line. Then, I was wrong. Yes, you were. And now you're calling the daughter you dismissed to save you from your own outdated thinking. I hung up as my assistant announced, your next meeting is ready. We're broadcasting to Apple offices worldwide. Standing at my presentation podium watching tech giants gather to learn from the company built by the daughter Phillips Sons rejected, I thought about that merger proposal still sitting in my drawer. Maybe I would sign it. Not to save them but to complete the revolution. To turn Phillips Sons into a case study of how old thinking falls to new ideas. How limitations become innovations. How the daughter they told to stick to simple jobs ended up owning their legacy. Sometimes success isn't just about proving them wrong. It's about building something so right that their mistakes become history lessons. And sometimes the simple job they wanted you to stick to becomes the billion-dollar empire they're begging to join. The day I signed the merger papers, I did it at Phillips Sons headquarters, in the same conference room where they'd once told me to stick to simple jobs. Their wood-paneled walls and leather chairs felt like a museum exhibit now, relics of outdated thinking. Dad and Tom sat across from me, watching as I reviewed each page carefully, a process they'd once mocked because it took me longer to read. Now they waited, their family empire hanging on my signature. The terms are non-negotiable, I said, looking up at their anxious faces. Phillips Sons becomes a subsidiary of Neurotech. Complete restructuring. Your board steps down. But the family name, Dad started, will be preserved as a historical footnote, I finished. A reminder of how not to treat innovative thinking. My phone buzzed. Forbes wanted a comment on the merger. The headline already drafted, Neurotech acquires family firm that rejected founder. A story of innovation trumping tradition. Sign here, my lawyer indicated, pointing to the line where Emma Phillips, who would officially become owner of the company that had dismissed her. As I signed, memories flooded back. Dad, business requires clear thinking, Emma. Your condition makes that impossible. Tom, just be realistic, sis. Some people aren't meant to lead. Mom, there's no shame in simple work, dear. Now they watched, silent, as I signed the final page. Phillips Sons was mine. The transition team arrives tomorrow, I announced, standing. And the renovation crew starts next week. This, I gestured at their traditional office, all gets modernized. You're going to destroy everything we built, Dad whispered. No, I corrected him. I'm going to fix everything you broke. Starting with your understanding of human potential. The next morning, I watched from my Neurotech office as crews removed the Phillips Sons sign from their building. Below, a stream of my employees entered, neurodivergent professionals I'd hired specifically because traditional companies had overlooked their talents. "Your father's here," my assistant announced. "He wants to see the new organizational chart." Dad shuffled in, looking lost without his CEO title. The wall screens displaying Neurotypical's AI systems made him squint. Too much digital information for his analog mind. "Tom's position," he began hesitantly. "Entry-level tech support," I replied. "He needs to learn how modern business works, how different minds contribute different values." "And me?" I pulled up the chart. "Consultant. Non-executive. You'll advise on traditional client relationships while learning our methods." "Learning from my dyslexic daughter," he said quietly. "The irony." "The justice," I corrected. My phone lit up with congratulations from tech leaders worldwide. Many shared their own stories of being underestimated, of proving doubters wrong, of building empires from others' rejections. "Miss Phillips." My assistant appeared. "The new Phillips and Sons board orientation is starting. And the Times wants to do a piece on neurodiversity in corporate leadership." Dad watched as I gathered my materials. "I still don't understand how you built all this." "That's exactly why you failed," I replied. "You never tried to understand different ways of thinking, different ways of succeeding." The orientation room was packed. My hand-picked board members representing various forms of neurodivergence. Each one brilliant. Each one previously dismissed by traditional companies. "Welcome to the new Phillips and Sons," I began my presentation. "Today we start transforming a company that once rejected different thinking into one that celebrates it." In the back I saw Tom slip in, his entry-level badge pinned awkwardly to his expensive suit. Mom sat beside him, finally seeing the empire her limited daughter had built. "Some of you know my story," I continued. "How this company once told me to stick to simple jobs. Today we prove that no job is simple when you bring different perspectives to it." The screens behind me displayed our global reach. Neurotypical's systems transforming companies across 6 continents. All because I'd turned my limitations into innovations. "The future doesn't belong to those who read the fastest or think the most traditionally," I concluded. "It belongs to those who think differently enough to see opportunities others miss." That evening I sat in my new office, formerly Dad's sanctuary of traditional power. The merger papers were framed on the wall, next to that old photo of me clutching my rejected business plan. Mom appeared in the doorway. "Your father's struggling with the new systems." "He's struggling with the new reality," I corrected. "One where his dyslexic daughter owns his legacy." "We should have seen." She started. "You should have looked," I interrupted. "Instead of trying to fix me, you should have tried to understand me." My phone buzzed one final time, a message from Tom. "Finally get what you were trying to tell us. The training program, it's teaching me to see business differently."